Hey guys, it's time to do our out-of-box review for the Master Grade Gundam Double X. Now, as I mentioned before, I did pretty much enjoy the Gundam X TV series, although like when the Master Grade Gundam X and then later when this Master Grade Gundam Double X were announced, neither of which of those, really got me all that excited. I mean, I do like the designs well enough, but just when it comes to like kits, they're just not exactly really my style, I think. I don't know. They look nice, but I wasn't really all that excited about it. But then when MindFenix Hobby Store offered to send me one of these, I thought it'd be a good chance to give it a try, and I feel good about it. I do like it quite a bit. The model is pretty good. There are a few things about it that are not really very good in my opinion, but it does definitely do what it's supposed to do. And basically what this kit is supposed to do is shoot its huge twin satellite cannon, so we'll be taking a look at that here shortly. But first I just want to give you guys just kind of my overall thoughts on it, some good points, bad points, and just kind of the normal review stuff. We'll take a look at everything that it comes with as well and all of that normal good stuff. So here's a look at just what you're going to get straight out of the box. I did put some of the foil stickers here. Actually, if you can see, I only actually used two of the foil stickers. One is for the eyes, and the other one is for the sight on the beam rifle, which we'll see a little bit later. All those other ones are all, these big ones are going on the inside of the shoulders, but I'll get to that in a bit. And these smaller ones are going on the, also on the satellite cannons. And then these ones are going on the front and back of the head. But the piece that you get inside the head is just clear green, so there's not really any point in covering that up with a green sticker. So that is that. Once again, it does come with this set of stickers as well, but I didn't use any of those. And as I mentioned in the unboxing, I'll give these away to someone, but I'm sure by the time that this video is posted that probably someone has already claimed those. So anyway, just know that it does come with these as well. If you want to use them, I'd recommend using water slides instead, but if you want, you can certainly use these. Right, so here it is. As you can see, I've just got no armor on there unless you want to count the small white piece on the faceplate there. This inner frame, I gotta say, is very nice. One reason why it's really good and nice for me is because it's got a lot of detail, but it's very simple. Like, it's not really that complex inner frame, but it does the job of just simply being an inner frame and providing good movement where you need the movement. So I'm not sure how that movement is going to be hindered once I get all the armor on there. This is all I've built so far, but my impression so far is quite good. I do really like the build of this so far. There are a few points that do concern me for the moment, and I'll take you show you those just here. Here on the chest, I really like this detail that's going to be covered up by those clear green pieces, but this cockpit hatch is a little bit loose. As you can see, it's just kind of loose on there. When we open it up, like so, the parts there tend to come apart. They're holding together well enough right now, but earlier when I first snapped together, they were coming apart a little bit. The other area that's a little bit loose at the moment is the waist. This part here is falling back very easily with only just like the basics of the backpack on there at the moment, and it's already like drooping back a little bit. Sure, once there's some more armor on there, it's going to help a little bit, but I think this movement in the waist, which is very good at the moment, might be a bit of a problem later once we've got a lot more weight on that backpack. Just have to see. Probably the biggest disappointment for me is something very small and maybe not really much of a big deal, is actually these plates on the back of the hands or on the back of the manipulators. Just seem really, really simple, and there's quite a lot of not like flash, but just edge around there. The edges are very sharp all around those, which just kind of gives them the feel of like some like third-party like option set hands kind of. So like they don't really seem like they really belong here. They just kind of seem like some like option parts. So that's a really, really minor thing and just totally a personal thing, I think. As you can see, the inner frame for the arms are really simple, and then for the legs pretty much too, if you don't count like the knee mechanism, and there's a sliding part there on the front of the thigh as well. But the simplicity of it really works, I think. You don't need something like a unicorn inner frame where we've got tons of stuff. So I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and finish the build, and let's get back to the review. So let's take a look at some of the articulation, as that is kind of where this kit kind of suffers the most in my point of view. The articulation is good, but what I found is that some parts of it just seem a little bit flimsy. Now, as you just saw in the look at the inner frame, that the inner frame was quite good, though it's quite simple. When I was unboxing it, I thought the inner frame was going to be pretty complicated by just the parts as I saw them on the runners, but as it turned out, it was relatively simple. So you'd think the articulation, everything would be pretty solid, but actually that's where it gets a little bit flimsy. So let's just take a look here, starting with the head. The head is quite good, no problems there at all. It does actually look up quite well with its starfish face. I'm not really a big fan of these white parts coming off the side. It's one thing I've never liked much about the Double X. If whenever I get around to actually finishing and painting this kit, I might actually cut those off and just make the face just kind of flat, normal looking. I mean, it is a unique feature and pretty important, I guess, to the design, or unique to the design, but I might just make it a little bit different for myself anyway. So some pretty good motion there in the head. Again, chicken neck quite well, so you can get quite a lot of movement there. A little bit of side to side motion there, and all of that normal good stuff. Cockpit hatch does open. I do like the detail up underneath that green piece. If I can get this open, just opens up like that and then folds down, and inside there is a small seated figure of Garrett Ron inside there. The shoulders are nice. Of course, we have this part that folds up that is for the satellite cannons, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But the whole mechanism can fold up like that, and then the arm can come up 90 degrees, fairly normal. The arm is going to go, of course, all the way around, rotate there, double joint there. It's all good and well. And then, of course, this part's going to open, but again, we'll take a look at that more when we get to the satellite cannon. This wrist piece, here is the first part where it's just a little bit flimsy in my point of view. That gray piece inside of there is just a little bit loose. It doesn't like to sit when you try to bend the wrist. It just kind of sits loosely in there, similar to like an RG, where in 1/44 scale it's hard to really notice and it just looks kind of natural. In this, it just looks like the piece is not really attached in there the way it's supposed to be, so don't really like that too much. But it's okay. I think that's everything on the arms there. The hands, once again, are just like Master Grade wing style hands, where the thumb is articulated and the fingers you have to switch out. I'll show you the other fingers here in a bit. The waist has some nice movement, but it's a little bit too loose. As you can see, it's just kind of flopping like that, and it is all the way pushed together, so it's not the problem. If I press it together like that, that tightened it up for a minute, but any moving around and it's going to become loose again. So that's something that might be a problem. Depending on the pose, I mean, you can sort that out pretty well, I think, but yeah, that's that. So the front skirts, I'm just going to move nice and well up like that, pretty normal. Side skirts as well, and the back skirt as well, about that much, because it's running into just other stuff there, so not a whole lot of movement. That's how that opens there. And then on down to the legs. Now here's where there was another problem for me, in that when you're moving the legs around, they tend to fall out. Well, here's one problem. This piece inside there, where this upper knee part and this lower knee part are supposed to attach, mine somehow just got, that piece up in there just got barely stretched apart a little bit, so it doesn't hold this part like it should. So I didn't do anything to really overstress that part, so really that part is going to be really fragile, I guess. Just really make sure that you don't overstress that part, because if it gets stretched out a little bit, then it's not going to hold this like it's supposed to, and you're going to have that happening. Pretty easy fix later on, but just be careful about that. Anyway, as I was saying, here at the hip, the legs do seem to come out at the hip from time to time. It might happen during the review or it might not, but just trying to pose the kit a little bit. It's already happened to me a few times, so just be careful of that. Sorry. And then once again here, that opens up very nice, but we'll talk about that more later. The ankles are also quite good. We get some nice movement there. And forward, about like that. Of course you can bend the toes a little bit, so you can get a pretty good bend that way. Down, and the toes go down. You do have some nice detail with the pistons inside there, and I like this little yellow color app there on the vent. That's one thing that I do really like about this kit, is the small vents everywhere. Here on the toes, the front of the ankle armor, just vernier there. Just the sides of the knees, on the front skirts, there, and then up on the shoulders, there and there. So I do like all those little vent apps, and of course the main vents in the chest, and then the 4 Vulcan guns in the chest as well. So it does have a lot of nice gray details poking out, where if you're painting the inner frame, you can really add some nice touches there. But anyway, back to the feet. The ankle armor is attached here, like in the front. So it doesn't really get a whole lot of movement there. It's pretty much just going to be stuck attached to the front of the ankle mechanism inside there. So as you can see on the back, we're not going to really be able to move the ankle armor a whole lot, but it does its job anyway. And so that is pretty much covering the articulation. The kit obviously is going to be super back heavy, but it does stand pretty well, and that's because you can kind of use those satellite cannons as something to hold it up in the back. So as you're seeing now, and like it was before, the satellite cannons there on the back are just kind of acting as a, not exactly a tripod, but some extra legs there for it to stand on. Of course, once you get those turned around and facing forward, then you don't have that, but then the weight of them facing forward does act to counterbalance that weight a little bit, so we'll take a look at that here in a bit. First, I want to just show you guys what else the kit comes with, because it does come with some other things. As we saw in the unboxing, there were a few X's in the parts list. Those are basically just for these parts, which are the frame parts for the feet and the ankle of the X Gundam, that are just not going to be used in this kit. Then for extra fingers, we've got the 2 open fingers to make just the open hands. Then we have 2 trigger finger or holding hands that are slotted for the left and right side. And then we also have another holding hand only for the right side, but there's no slot in there. And from what I can tell in the instructions, the slotted fingers are the ones that you're going to actually be using for all the accessories for this kit, the shield, the beam rifle, and the beam sabers. But I'm not sure what actually this one is for. I guess if you just wanted to use something else that doesn't come with this kit, then you could use this hand. But I'm not sure. Maybe someone can let me know. Maybe I just missed something in the manual, but you do have that as well. Then we have our action-based connector, which does look a little bit different from normal this time. I think they changed it a little bit, and from when I tried it, it does seem to work pretty well, a little bit better than the normal ones, so hopefully that should be good, and hopefully this will become the new norm, maybe. Then we have our 2 beam effect parts for the beam saber handles, which are stored there in the side skirt armor. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Once again, I do like these pretty well, except that they are a little bit flat on this way. They look good from this angle, but from this angle they don't look really a whole lot different, so I don't know. I think that's kind of nitpicking. They are pretty good, much better than just the normal kind, so that's pretty nice. And here, if you can see the length, they are definitely quite long, so that's pretty good. Then of course we have the beam rifle. I do quite like it. It's really simple in its design, but it's effective, and it is quite long as well. There is a clear green piece inside there in the scope, and the handle does fold up like that if you want, and then back down. And once again, that is also quite long. I'll show you some more poses at the end of the video using some of these weapons, but just for now, just see that. Then it has the defense plate, or the shield, which is pretty simple again, but I like this as well. Just a pretty nice long extendable arm there for when you're plugging that onto the side of the arm, or actually the side back of the arm actually, so it can get nice and far out of the way when you've got those radiator plates opened up on the side of the arm. But some nice detail in the gray with these vents kind of poking out there, so I do like that quite a bit. And the last thing that you're going to get with this is this small standing figure of Tifa Adil. I just threw some wash on there just so you guys could see it with a little bit more detail. I quite like it a lot, and as I said before, I did really like her character in the show, so probably will fully paint that a little bit later on. Just on a day when I'm feeling bored and I just want to do a little bit of painting. And here's just a quick size comparison compared with the Master Grade Unicorn Gundam. And it's sure making the Unicorn mode of that Gundam look very plain, but as you can see, obviously the Unicorn Gundam is quite tall, but it's especially tall compared to the Double X here. Though of course the Double X does have those very impressive panels sticking out the back, so it does kind of make up for its shorter size, but there's that. Alright, so just to show you some of those weapons mounted here, you can see no problem holding this classic Ale Strike pose, and it actually doesn't look too bad doing it, so I actually quite like that. Like I said, obviously the main feature of this kit is going to be the twin satellite cannon, but honestly, personally I do kind of like it just how it is with everything on the backpack. The reflector panel is just kind of folded up and the satellite cannon is just back. I mean, you can still see that they're there, and you still know that like they're there like for something pretty awesome and powerful, but like the kit just, I mean, looks pretty good even without them actually being used. So that is one good thing there. Again, no weight issues, although like I said, there are some parts that do feel a little bit flimsy in the armor, like just the knee armor a bit, and like the wrist parts there. Of course, like it's still not gonna really have any problem getting into poses like this, and the weight issues of just this shield and the beam rifle is basically nothing, so no problems there. The waist section is, sorry, this is wobbling a bit, it's because my base is running low on batteries. The waist section is, like the floppiness of the waist is coming into effect here a little bit, as I did have to press it a bit so that it wasn't tilting too much one way or the other. Again, just there, you can see that it's doing like that. I mean, you can get it into the pose where you want, but just know that it is a little bit loose. So why don't we take that stuff off there and look at that backpack. Okay, so before that, I just want to quickly show you about the beam saber, just because it is pretty cool. You can see it just folds up there from the side skirt, then you can pull it off like that. Now to mount it in the hand is a little bit tricky, so I'll show you just quickly how to do that as well. It does show it clearly in the manual, but you just need to take it apart like that, and you've got your top part where the beam effect will plug in. You're going to plug the hand onto that. Now the important thing is you need to leave a little bit of a gap there between the top of the fingers and the bottom of that top part, because when you put this piece back in, it needs to go between there and then back up together like that. And now the hand is securely attached with that part. So then we can put in the beam saber effect part, then attach that to the hand like that. And there we go. Now you can see that's how that's done, and it does look really good. Again, this weapon as well, I do really like the look of it. Just goes to show that even though it does have those huge weapons in the back, its other weapons are also quite nice. So, alright, now let's look at the backpack. Right, so if we turn her around here, you can see that these arms here on the back are quite posable in that, let's see, the beam cannons will swing up and around like that, and these reflectors will swing back and forth and rotate, and this whole mechanism can move up and down like that. So you do kind of have quite a range of movement there for those parts, and though the backpack itself is quite strong, so I feel like there shouldn't really be a whole lot of issues there holding these things up in different poses. If you wanted to have something very vertical, something like that, you could do something like that. So that is possible, but let's take a look at how we're going to open up the actual reflector panels. So put this back. Basically, just this one folds down like that, and then the middle one folds down. As you can see, basically there's these two gray parts that hold the three of them together. Just one is attached, and the other one you just have to just attach like that. Just snap that into place, and then there you go, then it's open, and we can change the angle a little bit, something like that. That's pretty much it. As I said before, I think that yellow kind of looks a little bit like bicycle reflectors. Looks a little bit silly in that, but just again, that is the color that it's supposed to be, so not really much choice about that. Open up that one as well. It's pretty simple, as you can see. And there we go, and that's all opened up. Now, before we bring the railguns, or not the railguns, the satellite cannons up, of course we can open the arms as well. Just open those up, and that mechanism in there is really cool, so that when you open it up, the panels come out at the same time. So that's really cool as well. And then of course these here on the leg are just going to do the same thing. Open up, and those open up very nicely there. So now everything is all open up, and then we can bring the cannons forward. Now, as you just saw previously, we can bring those up and around like that, no problem, and they have no issues staying like that. Now there is a way to extend them and kind of fix them into place as well. So for that, basically to extend it, it's just a matter of just pulling it now. That's the first extension, just pulling out that part, but then you can pull it even more like this and expose that gap there, and that's actually a hinge that will let this swing side to side. Now once we've got it totally attached, then it won't swing all that much, but this part here in the shoulder we're going to bring up, and there is a clear part that goes in there. I have it here. I haven't put that in yet because once you put that in, you're not going to be able to get it out, so I want to wait until it's painted. Bring this up and extend it a bit. And then, see, this is the other problem, is that this part also comes off of this ball joint very, very easily. So when you're trying to attach this, I find it takes a little bit before you can get it on there properly without that coming off. So that will just connect onto there like that, and then there you go, now that's connected onto the shoulder armor. Now honestly, it's okay like that, but I kind of like it better when it's not actually attached to the shoulder armor, when the cannon's just over the arm just by itself. So just like that. I kind of like that better. But of course this is the actual look, how it's supposed to look. It also kind of hinders the angle of the cannon. See, it's basically fixed in this angle of straight on. I kind of like it to be a little bit up, more like that. Of course this, in this one you can see it is pointing straight along with the sight of the Gundam, whereas this one is, like I said, pointing a little bit more up. But yeah, but now that that is attached on there, like I said, we are still getting some side-to-side movement there, but not quite as much. I don't really know why you would want to have it like going off to the side like that, or pointing to the side like that. It just seems like a kind of unnecessary feature that doesn't really look right with that part bent like that anyway. Because it seems like the cannon should not be bent like that, if you can see it from that way. You can see it just looks kind of strange. So, I don't know. Again, it's a feature that I'm not really a huge fan of, but it is there, and that is how it is actually supposed to look. So let me get the other one set up and I'll show you that. So that's pretty much it for the Master Grade Double X. I do like it. It's a nice kit, definitely. Once it's all painted and finished up, it's gonna definitely make a cool display piece all opened up like that with those cannons. It's definitely going to look very nice on a shelf, I think. Or, I mean, as I said before, pretty much the nice thing about it was that even just not using this, but just using the beam rifle, the shield, the beam saber, or even just like standing on its own, it's definitely a really good looking and impressive looking kit. Even with the reflectors and the cannons all folded up and folded back, it does still have that powerful look to it, so it definitely has a lot of things going for it in just the looks. As I said, there were a few parts that felt a little bit flimsy to me on this particular kit, but it could just be me, and those are also things that just, once the kit's finished, it's probably not going to be too much of an issue. Another nice thing about this kit is that although it does have quite a lot of panel lines on it, I mean, not a lot, but it does have some panel lines on it, it has a lot of open spaces where you could easily add some custom panel lining there to it, or just any kind of like custom painting or decals and stuff like that. It does have quite a lot of open spaces on it, so that's definitely good for customizing. And just overall, it comes with everything that you want it to come with. It doesn't really, there's not really anything that I could think of that it doesn't come with, except for, of course, the G-Falcon, but it's obviously not going to be something that Bandai is going to put in together with the kit for us. It would be nice, but I think no one was really expecting that. So if there was any sort of possibility, it might be something that could be re-released later with them together, but you know, that's not going to happen. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what the G-Falcon is going to look like. As we've seen, when we saw early photos, it looked like the old 1/100 scale G-Falcon was going to work with this, but then as I saw in Jabman's review, he tried it and he said it didn't work just because the shape of the torso is not the right shape to attach the nose cone of the G-Falcon, and just some other stuff like couldn't attach to the back correctly. So I guess the photos we saw earlier were modified, so they didn't look like it, but anyway, it must have been. I guess we'll just have to wait and see about that. I don't know if I'll actually get the G-Falcon or not. We'll see. Truth be told, there's a little story about when I was young in my very early days of doing Gunpla modeling, when I just could only get like a handful of options from the local Toys R Us. Otherwise, there was like a lot of stuff on eBay and stuff like that. The one kit that I wanted for a long time was the old 1/100 scale Double X and G-Falcon, and I thought it looked really cool, and I saved my money for it for a while. I think it was like $45 or something like that. When you're like 13 or 14 or something like that, it's enough money. It's not like, I don't know, it's not the kind of money that I just had all the time. But finally saved up the money and got that. Had to pay over eBay with a money order. Got the money order, sent that, and the seller never actually sent the kit, so I never actually got that kit. It was really sad, depressing. I really wanted the kit, and ever since then I always thought about getting the kit, but now that I'm older and more experienced with Gundam modeling, I know that that kit is really not all that great, so I actually don't particularly want it anymore. And as I said, although I like the series, the Double X is not really exactly my favorite design anymore, but just for nostalgia, it might be kind of cool just to get the Double X, just so at least I can, sorry, the G-Falcon, just so at least I can finally have a G-Falcon and Double X, and I don't know, we'll see. So anyway, that just about does it for this review, you guys. I'm sure I left out some stuff as I was kind of in a hurry to get this review done and out for you guys. So if you have any questions or something I missed, please leave that in the comments below. A lot of stuff that I'm working on at the moment. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon. And once again, just want to say a huge thank you to MindFenix Hobby Store for sending this kit to me. Check out their site here. If you live in Australia, they're going to be a great way for you to get your model kits. If you don't live in Australia, look for some videos that I'm making with them on their YouTube channel in the near future. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.